Thank you for registering to the Adult Literacy Tutoring Program. By now, you should have or will be receiving an email that looks like this. This email will give you steps on how to access the online tutor training, as well as your username and password that you will use to log in. The entire training will take around 6 to 8 hours in total, which you can pause and pick up again whenever you'd like. We expect you to complete the workshops within about a month, but should be completed prior to the half-day in-person training. This video will serve as a tutorial that will help you get started on our online tutor training, Intake to Outcomes. Getting started, you'll want to open up your internet browser. The company really recommends using Google Chrome. If you find yourself having trouble accessing some of the features on the site and you aren't using Google Chrome, that may be the problem. But anyway, I'll just double-click my web browser, and the browser should open up. In the search bar, I'm going to want to type the Intake to Outcomes website, onlinetutortraining.com. So just type that into your web browser and press the Go or Search button, and it should take you to the site. Here's what the site looks like. You'll want to click this login button on the upper right hand side, and it will take you to the login page. Here's the login page where you would enter the username and password provided to you in the email that I showed you in the beginning of this tutorial. So I've gone ahead and typed in all of my information, which you will do with your information as well, and then you can press the submit button or the enter button on your keyboard. After pressing submit, you should come to your landing page. Here you have all of your active courses as well as completed courses. When I'm looking at my active courses, I can hover over the course name and click on it to get to the training. Here's what a typical course would look like. On the bottom of the page, you have an orange bar with buttons: play, ask, previous, next. Unless it's a slide with review questions, which I will show you an example of on the next slide, you will have a play button, which will narrate the slide you're on, as well as give you more in-depth details on that particular slide. For example, here we have the What is Reading unit, and as you can see, there's not much writing, but you could probably deduce that there are 4 components of reading, based on the picture and some key words. The play button will have speakers give more information and explain the given slides a bit better. Here's an example of what checkup and practice questions will look like. You'll have these at the end of each unit. If you choose to skip questions, the system will take you back to these skipped questions rather than your place in the course when you logged out. So it's probably best to answer them as you go so you don't lose where you left off when you need a break. On the left, you have a navigation bar. You can click through each individual unit and their parts in case you want to go back and review something. And the great part about this is that once you complete your lesson, you can still go back and access it under the completed courses on your landing page. Next to the play button, there is an ask button. And what's very cool about this is you can ask the Intake to Outcomes people any question about maybe a specific strategy that you may need clarification on, or anything really. I know when Josh started tinkering with this, he asked, "What's your favorite cookie?" And he got an email back later in the day with an answer saying, "Chocolate chip is the best cookie." So that's a nice feature. Obviously, if you ask questions geared more toward the training, they'll be more thorough, but that was kind of funny. Here's just a slide showing you what the ask box looks like. Very simple, just ask a question and submit, and you will receive an answer in your email. And then of course you have your next and previous buttons, which will take you back and forth from the slides. If you want to go back to your landing page, you can click the back button or the Intake to Outcomes logo at the top of the page, and it should take you back. So here we are back on the home page. When you go through the units, you'll notice sometimes they'll refer to the data bank, and I just wanted to show you where that was in case there was some confusion while you were going through the units. If you scroll down the home page, you'll find the data bank. Here you have the videos from the units all laid out in front of you, so they're easy to access instead of having to click through each individual slide to find what you're looking for. So that's very nice. And you also have PDFs. In the PDF tab, you can find the worksheets talked about in the course, as well as extra materials to help your learner. I'll show you an example by clicking the digraphs PDF. Here it is. You can print it out or just use it on here. It's very cool. When you're all done, you can click back to take you back to your home page. And that's the gist of it. Log out or exit out of the window and everything will save wherever you left off for the next time you log in to start again. Please be sure to complete the Intake to Outcomes training before the next scheduled in-person training session, which will complete your training process. At the in-person training session, we'll review how the information and techniques that you learn in the Intake to Outcomes training specifically apply in our program. You'll be introduced to key learning materials we use and get to know the nuts and bolts of how our program works from day to day. There are 2 different tracks for the in-person training: the Adult Basic Education training for reading and math, and English as a second language. The 2 tracks will each spend part of their day all together and then separated out into their specific areas of focus. The schedule details for your track are in the email you received that links you to this video. We'll look forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please contact Josh Anderson, the Adult Literacy Coordinator, at 847-775-2549 or janderson@waukeganpl.info.
And with that information, you're all set to get started with the Intakes to Outcomes training. We appreciate you volunteering your time with us. The cost of the Intakes to Outcomes training is covered up front by the program, but if you decide that you'd like to support the program financially by reimbursing us for the cost of your training, please just bring $25 to the in-person training day. If you decide to write a check, those can be made out to the Waukegan Public Library with adult tutor training on the memo line.